Are you an adulterer? Possibly. Many of us are walking around town needing a scarlet letter on our chest because we are committing adultery. I know some of you guys might be thinking, child, I'm not married. How am I committing adultery? Or, child, I ain't dealing with no married man. How am I committing adultery? Or, child, I am faithful to my covenant. How am I committing adultery? And I am going to enlighten you guys about spiritual adultery. All throughout scripture, God refers to our relationship with Him as that of a marriage. And God calls the children of Israel adulterous people. Why? Because they have chosen idols over God. They have committed to things of the world versus following the path that God laid before them. That is spiritual adultery. Jesus makes it very clear in scripture. You cannot serve two masters. The moment when you believe that your job is more important than your relationship with God, or that your material items and your wealth is more important than your relationship with God, or the things that you choose to idolize or pedestalize are more important than your relationship with God, you have to know that you are, in fact, committing adultery against God. I love how throughout Proverbs 5, the scripture is speaking to a son, telling him not to be lured away by the adulterous woman. It speaks of all of the woman's tactics that she uses to entice him away from his wife. And that is exactly what happens here in the world. We are lured away from the path that leads us to God's grace. We're lured away by things that seem more appealing, things that seem more enticing. But the reality is those things just lead to despair. Do not be that person who is being led into spiritual adultery by making an enemy of God because you chose to be friends with the world. Choose wisely.